My wife had a severe aversion to men. Any kind of physical contact made her uncomfortable. Even when we were intimate, she would only ever agree to the most vanilla, missionary position. Anytime I tried to suggest something more adventurous, a little spice, or even just a different room in the apartment, she'd shut me down completely. Coming back from a business trip, I was rushing home, excited to see her. But in the building's stairwell, I saw a side of my wife I never knew existed. One, when she walked through the door and saw me standing there, a flash of panic crossed her face. I stared at Chloe, her cheeks flushed, her breathing still a little too quick. My heart felt like it was caught in a vice, each beat a sharp, twisting pain. I reached down and lifted the hem of her skirt. Underneath, she was completely bare. Before I could even get the question out, she slapped my hand away, her voice sharp. Are you that desperate? How many times have I told you? Only in the bedroom. The disgust in her eyes was raw, completely undisguised. My world bottomed out. My wife, the woman who had always been so incredibly conservative, was going commando. As Chloe hurried into the bathroom, a flurry of panicked energy, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't called in 3 years. The person on the other end listened to my story without interruption. When I was done, her voice was firm, without a trace of hesitation. I'm on the next flight. Wait for me. When Chloe came out of the bathroom, she was walking awkwardly, shifting her hips. She'd clearly gotten used to not wearing anything under her clothes, and now it felt strange. What's wrong? Not used to it, I asked, my voice dripping with sarcasm. She understood the jab immediately. Chloe's brow furrowed. What are you talking about? God, you're being disgusting. Then she looked up and saw the raw fury in my eyes. The sight of my bloodshot stare made her pause, and her tone softened instantly. Ethan, honey, you know how I am. I'm traditional. Please don't make jokes like that. She moved in and gave me a hug, a hollow, placating gesture. The thought of her holding someone else just moments before made my stomach turn. I recoiled, pushing her away. Chloe, I said, my voice cold and flat. I'm starting to think you're not traditional at all. Her face went pale. She tried to sound angry, but her voice was thin and brittle. Ethan, would you stop being so irrational? Irrational? Chloe, why don't you tell me where you just were? The direct hit shattered her composure. She was completely flustered, her mouth opening and closing as she scrambled for a lie. Just then, a knock echoed from the front door. She practically fled to answer it, desperate for the interruption. Chloe, baby, I'm back. Miss me already? A man strode in, freezing when he saw me. A flicker of unease crossed his face. Oh, Ethan, you're home. Chloe's boss, Trevor, walked toward me as if nothing was wrong, extending a hand. After the forced greeting, he turned to Chloe, his tone one of playful complaint. You should have told me he was home. What's the big secret? Chloe shot me a nervous glance. I just watched the two of them, a bitter taste in my mouth as I took in their little performance. Trevor must have noticed the look in my eyes because he quickly tried to explain. Ethan, don't get the wrong idea. Chloe and I just have that kind of joking relationship. As he said it, he reached into his pocket, probably to offer me a cigarette, but his hand fumbled. A small piece of black fabric fell to the floor. When I saw what it was, my blood ran cold. It was the lacy Victoria's Secret lingerie I had bought for her. I remember the day I gave it to her. She'd thrown a fit, called me a pervert, and swore she would never wear something so trashy. Chloe followed my gaze and saw it on the floor. She snatched it up and shoved it back into Trevor's pocket. Honey, Trevor was over yesterday, and I was so embarrassed by that thing. I didn't want to throw out myself, so I asked him to get rid of it for me. Don't overthink it. Trevor, sensing the tension, pulled the lingerie out and looked at it, then slapped his forehead in a pantomime of forgetfulness. Oh man, Ethan, look at me. Total brain fart. I completely forgot to toss it. I didn't say a word. I just watched them lie. Realizing the atmosphere was toxic, Trevor made his exit. Well, I should get home and make some dinner. Don't want to interrupt you too. Chloe's brow furrowed in concern. Trevor, you can't cook to save your life. I'll come make you something. And just like that, she followed him out the door. Trevor lived in the apartment directly above ours. I never knew if he'd bought it specifically to make the affair more convenient, or if it was just a sick coincidence. Watching them disappear down the hall, I sent a text to my lawyer. Draft a divorce agreement. I need it yesterday. 2. It was dark by the time Chloe returned. I was sitting on the couch, reading over the divorce papers my lawyer had emailed me. She didn't come back alone. Trevor walked in right beside her. I gritted my teeth. "Ethan, my man, just popping in. Hope you don't mind," Trevor said with a smug grin. Before I could answer, Chloe playfully slapped his arm. "Don't be silly. You're my boss. We're usually begging you to come over. Why would he mind?" A cold, humorless laugh escaped my lips. "What are you laughing at, Ethan?" Seeing the anger flare in her eyes, I suddenly lost the energy to argue. I simply held out the papers. "Read it. If there are no issues, sign it." Trevor reached for the document, but I held on, my eyes locked on Chloe. "What's the big deal?" "Let him see it," she said defiantly. "He's my boss. He can make decisions for me." A triumphant smirk crossed Trevor's face. I let go of the papers, my expression unreadable. When Trevor saw the words divorce agreement on the cover sheet, his eyes flickered up to meet mine with a look of deep, knowing satisfaction. Chloe leaned in, tried to read over his shoulder, but he flipped directly to the last page and handed it to her. "Sign here, Chloe." She took the pen, hesitated for a second as if to read the fine print, but Trevor stopped her. "What, you don't trust me?" She forced a smile and signed her name without another thought. He handed one copy to me and casually slipped the other into Chloe's purse. With the agreement signed and tucked away, I looked at her calmly. "Chloe, I haven't eaten yet. Don't you think you should be making dinner?" It was only then that she seemed to remember I'd been home for hours with nothing to eat. "Oh, honey, I already ate at Trevor's place. I can just order you some DoorDash." I didn't respond. I just stared at her. The silence grew heavy. Trevor, sensing the shift, gave her a little nudge. "Go on, make your husband some food. What kind of wife are you?" Chloe stomped into the kitchen, resentful, muttering "so needy" under her breath. Trevor shot me a taunting look. "Damn, Ethan, you really don't wear the pants in this relationship, do you? She listens to me more than she listens to you." My eyes were ice. "Are you done? If you are, get out." He wasn't fazed. He simply stood up, called out a goodbye to Chloe, and left. Chloe rushed out of the kitchen with a spatula in her hand. Seeing Trevor was already gone, she shot me a glare filled with resentment. "What? Sad to see him go? I can leave, too, if you want to give you two some privacy." She scoffed and went back to the kitchen. Watching her move around in there, I used to think this was what happiness looked like. Even though her cooking was usually bland and uninspired, I always finished every bite. But since she had so readily offered to cook for Trevor, it was clear she knew how. She just never bothered to put in the effort for me. Later that night, lying in bed, she made a rare move. "Honey," she whispered, "you've been away for a while. You must be frustrated. I'll give you one tonight." She started to take off her clothes, offering herself to me. But all I felt was a wave of nausea. "Forget it. I'm not in the mood." It was the first time I had ever rejected her. A flicker of shock, then anger crossed her face. Being turned down was a blow to her ego. "Fina, it was your choice, not me refusing you," she snapped. She angrily pulled her clothes back on, rolled over, and turned her back to me. 3. The night dragged on. I couldn't sleep. The pain of her betrayal was a physical thing, a constant, gnawing ache. I never imagined that Chloe, my conservative, touch-averse wife, would be capable of cheating. Suddenly, the screen of her phone on the nightstand lit up. She snatched it immediately, glancing over at me nervously. Seeing I hadn't moved, she unlocked it and read the message. A minute later, she whispered, "Ethan, are you asleep?" I stayed silent. Thinking I was asleep, she hesitated for a moment, then whispered a faint, "I'm sorry," before slipping out of bed and leaving the bedroom. I got up, my movement silent, and followed her. In the emergency stairwell, the scene from the afternoon was playing out all over again. After they were finished, Chloe spoke first, her voice laced with a strange mix of guilt and desire. "Trevor, I have to ask you, if Ethan finds out about us and divorces me, will you marry me?" "Yes, of course I will." She sighed. "I don't know what to do about you. Ever since you forced me that first time, my body has been addicted to you. But my heart still loves my husband. I'm so torn." I couldn't listen to another word. I stumbled back to our apartment, the world spinning around me. A crushing wave of humiliation washed over me, and everything went black. The next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed. Someone was holding my hand tightly. "Ethan, you're awake." I looked over at Chloe. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and she looked exhausted. I said nothing. Honey, I went out to the store last night, she explained, her voice shaky with a lie. When I came back, I found you passed out on the living room floor. Just then, Trevor walked in carrying a fruit basket. Chloe came to see how Ethan's doing. He sat down next to her and started peeling an apple. When he was done, he cut off a slice and held it to her lips. Chloe opened her mouth and ate it without a second thought. I froze. Chloe's aversion to men was so severe she flinched if I brushed past her in the hallway. When it came to food, she wouldn't even let me feed her a bite of anything. After feeding Chloe, Trevor sat by my bed and offered me the rest of the apple. Ethan, you gotta stop being so paranoid. I promise you, Chloe would never betray you. If you're that worried, don't worry. I'll keep an eye on her for you. I didn't take the apple. I just narrowed my eyes and stared at him. You know, Ethan, he continued, his tone dripping with insinuation, I don't mind you trying to control Chloe. It's not like you'll be able to for much longer anyway. Chloe frowned. What are you two talking about? Trevor just chuckled. Nothing. You'll find out in a month. She dismissed it with a muttered, whatever, and didn't ask again. A doctor came into the room and looked at my chart. What did you eat last night? I glanced at Chloe. She guiltily looked away. Next time, make sure your mushrooms are fully cooked before you eat them. You have a nasty case of food poisoning. And for the next couple of days, absolutely no dairy and nothing spicy. It could be dangerous. With that warning, the doctor left. Chloe grabbed my hand, her voice thick with apology. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I stared at the ceiling, ignoring her. I didn't know what was real and what was fake with her anymore. I was even starting to wonder if she had undercooked the mushrooms on purpose. Why I didn't respond, her apology curdled into annoyance. It was an accident. Can't you just forgive me? God, you're so petty. She dropped my hand. Come on, Trevor. Let's go get something to eat. The two of them walked out of the room. A few minutes later, Trevor came back alone. He was holding a carton of milk he must have bought that morning. He brought it to my lips. Here, Ethan, drink this. Trevor, what the hell are you doing? Didn't you hear the doctor? I can't have milk. His eyes turned vicious. I said drink it. Don't make this harder than it has to be. He forced the carton into my mouth and started pouring. I struggled, but the food poisoning had left me weak, completely drained of strength. A burning sensation spread through my stomach, and my vision started to blur at the edges. 4. The door opened. It was Chloe. I thrashed, trying to get her attention. Help me, Chloe. Call the doctor. She walked over to the bed, saw the milk dribbling from my mouth, and recoiled in disgust. Ugh, you're filthy. Can't you control your cravings for even a minute? She hadn't heard a single word the doctor said. She tugged on Trevor's arm. Forget him. Let's go eat. Trevor, who had looked momentarily nervous, saw her reaction and a smug, triumphant smile spread across his face. You got it, Chloe. Let's go. I summoned my last ounce of strength and grabbed her hand. Don't go. Please. Call a doctor. She yanked her hand away. Stop being so dramatic. You're just trying to keep me from spending time alone with Trevor, aren't you? Can you stop being so possessive and insecure? Just then, a nurse doing her rounds came into the room. She saw my condition, and her eyes went wide with alarm. Are you insane? Why did you give him milk? Chloe froze. Trevor waved a dismissive hand. It's not milk, it's coconut water. Chloe immediately latched onto the lie. Right, it's coconut water. I was too weak to speak, my eyes pleading with the nurse. We need to get him to the ICU now, the nurse said, ignoring them and turning to call for help. Trevor blocked her path. Why are you getting so worked up? He's faking it, can't you tell? Chloe chimed in. Don't listen to him. He's just jealous and trying to get attention. But the nurse was a professional. She knew she couldn't reason with them and started shouting for a doctor down the hall. When the doctor arrived and saw me on the verge of unconsciousness, he immediately ordered an emergency intervention. But when he needed a family member to sign the consent forms, Chloe refused. I'm not signing. He's faking. He can fool you, but he can't fool me. She grabbed Trevor's arm and started pulling him toward the door. You two, get out of the way. You're making me late for dinner. The doctor finally lost his temper. Are you crazy? Your husband's life is in danger and you're going to dinner. Chloe let out a cold laugh. His life is in danger? Fine. Then let him die. Without another glance, she pushed past the doctor and left the room. I felt myself slipping away. It was over. All because I was blind enough to marry that venomous woman. Through the fog, I thought I heard a voice shouting, "Get him into surgery now. Whatever happens, I'll take full responsibility." When I woke up again, I was in a different private room. As my vision cleared, I heard the sound of someone crying next to me. "Ethan, you're finally awake." I looked at the young woman beside me, her eyes swollen and red. I sighed. "You're back." Claire nodded, tears streaming down her face. Years ago, I had ignored my family's objections and married Chloe. Claire, the woman I'd been engaged to since we were kids, was heartbroken. She left the country without a word and hadn't been back in 3 years. If I hadn't made that desperate call yesterday, she probably would have stayed away forever. "Claire, this isn't the time for crying. I need you to go to my apartment. Get the memory card from the security camera in the living room." She wiped her eyes and nodded firmly. Just after she left, my phone rang. It was Chloe. "Honey, where are you? Where did you go?" I remained silent. "Ethan, don't be mad. I know you were just faking being sick to get my attention. And honestly, it's kind of sweet. It just shows how much you love me." Her words were so delusional, I almost laughed. "Chloe, let's get a divorce." I hung up. When Claire returned, she had the memory card. After watching the footage, any lingering doubt, any shred of hope I might have had, was completely extinguished. I picked up my phone and dialed 911. I'd like to report an attempted murder. When the police arrived, I told them everything. How Trevor knew I couldn't have milk and forced it down my throat anyway. I handed them the memory card as evidence. Not long after they left, Chloe walked in my new room, with Trevor right behind her. "Ethan, why did you change hospitals? And why would you call the cops on Trevor?" "It was an accident." My gaze was glacial. "If you're here to talk about the divorce, fine. Otherwise, get out." Chloe's face turned livid. "Ethan, why are you doing this to me?" Her eyes fell on Claire. "Who are you?" Claire stood up, meeting Chloe's gaze without flinching. "I'm Ethan's former fiancée." Chloe's face twisted into a mask of rage. "You bitch. You dare to seduce my husband." She lunged at Claire. At that exact moment, 2 police officers walked in. Chloe immediately forgot about Claire and placed herself protectively in front of Trevor. "Officers, my husband has paranoid delusions from his food poisoning. He filed a false report." The officer looked Chloe up and down, then glanced at Trevor. "We'll make our own determination. We don't need you to teach us how to do our jobs." He looked at Trevor. "Are you Trevor Kane? You need to come with us." Chloe spread her arms, blocking their path. The officer's patience was wearing thin. "And who are you?" "I'm the wife of the man who called you." The officer's lips curved into a slight smile. "So you're Chloe Miller?" She nodded, confused. "Perfect. You should come with us, too. There are a few interesting things we need you to cooperate with." 5. I forced myself out of the hospital bed. "Officer, I'm coming with you." The cop gave me a sympathetic look and nodded. Claire supported me as we walked out of the hospital. At the police station, I sat in an interview room, breathing heavily. Claire gently handed me a cup of water, but Chloe snatched it from her and threw it on the floor. "I'm his wife. He doesn't need your charity, you homewrecker." She poured another cup and placed it in front of me. "Honey, drink this." I didn't touch it. I said nothing. "Ethan, I know you're angry," she pleaded. "It's my fault. I neglected your feelings. I promise. I'll never leave your side again." Her vows sounded so sincere, just like on our wedding day when she swore she'd never betray me. Back then, she told me I was the only man whose touch she could stand, that anyone else made her skin crawl. I never once thought my conservative wife would cheat. Seeing my silence, Chloe grew anxious. "Ethan, please stop this. Can you just drop the charges against Trevor? I still need to work for him." Even now, she was protecting him. My heart turned to ice. Claire couldn't stand it anymore. "Chloe, if you care so much about your boss, why are you still clinging to Ethan? Just divorce him and be with Trevor. Wouldn't that be better for everyone?" Chloe glared daggers at Claire. Before she could explode, I held up a hand. "After the officers are done questioning you, if you still want me to drop the charges, I will." She had no idea what I was talking about, but hearing I might drop the charges brought a visible wave of relief. Soon, an officer entered the room. "Mr. Prescott, Mr. Kane is being interrogated. We need to speak with Ms. Miller now." "Do I need to leave?" I asked. The officer looked at me, his expression hesitant. "The contents of this video. It might be very difficult for you to watch." I shook my head calmly. "It's fine. I've already seen everything. Seeing my resolve, the officer didn't press the issue, but he did ask Claire to step outside. As she left, she gave me a worried look. I gave her a small nod to reassure her. The officer's demeanor became formal. Ms. Miller, you are currently under investigation for suspected participation in group lewd activities. Chloe was stunned. Then her face flushed with outrage. How dare you say that in front of my husband? You're slandering me. Do you have any proof? If not, I'll sue you for defamation. The officer gave a cold smirk, glanced at me for confirmation, and I nodded. He inserted the memory card into a laptop. On the screen, an image appeared. Chloe, blindfolded, kneeling on our living room couch. The moment she saw it, she gasped and rushed over to cover my eyes. Ethan, don't look. I push her hands away. Keep watching. The surprise is yet to come. Chloe had no idea what I was talking about. As the video continued to play, the color drained from her face. On screen, Trevor quietly opened our apartment door. 3 sleazy-looking men crept inside. 6. In the video, Chloe, still blindfolded, was asking Trevor, "Trevor, if my husband leaves me, you'll really marry me, right?" A cruel, mocking smile played on Trevor's lips, but his voice was smooth as silk. "Of course, Chloe. I'll definitely marry you." When the video ended, Chloe collapsed to the floor, completely catatonic. I looked at her with a flicker of pity. In a way, she was pathetic, sold out by her own boss without her knowledge, all while fantasizing that he would marry her. If he truly loved her, why would he ever do something like that? An officer had to help her to her feet before she snapped out of her trance. "Ethan, believe me, I love you, it's just that." I nodded. "I believe you. I heard everything you and Trevor said in the stairwell last night." Her face went ashen. Her lips pressed into a thin, white line. "Don't be surprised," I continued. "Well, I got home yesterday, and you weren't there. I went to the stairwell to have a smoke. You know, since you always hated the smell in the apartment. That's when I saw you in his arms." Chloe finally broke. "Stop," she sobbed. "Please, Ethan, just stop talking." The officer looked at me sympathetically. "Mr. Prescott, this is just an initial inquiry. Based on the video, it appears your wife was not a knowing participant. We'll need to investigate further before deciding whether to file charges against her." I nodded. "But rest assured, Trevor Kane won't be getting away with this. It's not just this," I added, my voice hard. "He knew giving me milk could kill me, and he forced me to drink it. That's attempted murder." The officer squeezed my shoulder. "Leave it to us. We won't let him get away with it." I stood up and walked out of the room. Chloe tried to follow, but an officer stopped her. She had to stay for further questioning. Claire was waiting for me outside. She saw me and rushed to my side, supporting me. I asked her to go with me to my lawyer's office to file the divorce papers. Walking out of the building, I let out a long, slow breath. No matter what happened next, the marriage was over. Even if Chloe contested it, with the evidence of her affair, any judge would grant the divorce. Claire asked where I wanted to go now. I thought for a moment. "Let's pack my things. Then let's go back to Boston." At the mention of Boston, Claire's eyes lit up. In the 3 years I was married, I hadn't been home once. When I had insisted on marrying Chloe, my father warned me she wasn't right for me, that I would regret it. I was too arrogant back then, so sure of my own choices that I was willing to cut ties with my family. In the process, I destroyed my relationship with Claire, the woman I was supposed to marry. Now, I had to admit it. My father was right. I regretted everything. 7. As I finished packing, I looked around the apartment I had called home for 3 years. I felt nothing. No nostalgia, no sadness. Only the nauseating memory of Chloe with other men in this very space. Claire took my hand. "Ethan, let's go." I nodded. I grabbed my suitcase and walked out without a second glance. As the plane climbed into the sky, leaving the sprawling lights of New York City behind, a profound sense of relief washed over me. A bad marriage truly is a prison, one that had been suffocating me for years. Back in Boston, my father saw me walk in with Claire and seemed to understand everything in an instant. "So you're back." I nodded, unable to meet his gaze. A half smile played on his lips. My mother elbowed him sharply. "What's with the attitude? Weren't you the one who missed him?" My father just sighed and turned his attention to Claire, chatting warmly with her. Claire had always been good to my parents. Even while I was gone, She would visit them every time she was back in the States. Lying in my childhood bed, it felt like I had woken from a long, surreal nightmare. Those years of marriage had been exhausting, a constant drain on my soul. After a few days of rest at home, my health finally started to return. Seeing the color back in my face, Claire organized a get-together with all our old friends, a welcome home party for me. I felt a pang of guilt thinking about them. They had helped me so much over the years. It was long past time to see them. The moment I walked into the private room at the restaurant, I saw Trevor bowing and scraping before my best friend, Jackson Ford. "Mr. Ford, we're just a small company. We depend on you. Please, you can't terminate our contract." Jackson, knowing our history, gave Trevor a look of pure contempt. "It's my money. I'll buy from whoever I want. You got a problem with that?" "No, sir, not at all." Seeing he was getting nowhere with Jackson, Trevor grabbed Chloe from behind him and pushed her into Jackson's lap. "Mr. Ford, you should try this one. She's incredible." He gave Jackson a slimy, ingratiating smile. Jackson threw his hands up in the air as if she were toxic. "What the hell is this? You're offering me your sloppy seconds." Chloe, the woman with a supposed aversion to men, was frozen in Jackson's lap, looking helplessly at Trevor. Seeing her just sitting there, Trevor slapped her hard across the face. "You bitch, did I bring you here to just sit there? Take care of Mr. Ford now." Tears streamed down Chloe's face, but she didn't dare fight back. Humiliation etched on her features. She began to unbutton her blouse. The room filled with the jeers and whistles of Jackson's entourage. Chloe turned her head, and her eyes met mine, standing in the doorway. Her face lit up as if she'd seen a savior. She scrambled off Jackson's lap and ran to me. "Ethan, what are you doing here? You have to leave. You can't afford to make an enemy of Trevor." I stared at her, my face a mask of indifference. Trevor walked over and, without a word, slapped her again. "You stupid whore. You're divorced. He's not your husband anymore." Chloe clutched her cheek and looked at the floor, silent. After dealing with her, Trevor looked at me, puffed up with arrogance. "Look what the cat dragged in. You saw the videos, and you're still not over her. How was the show? Pretty hot, right?" He smirked. "The wife you treated like a treasure. To me, she's just a piece of trash I use to entertain clients. Does that hurt? Does it make you feel small?" I frowned. "How did you get out of jail?" Trevor scoffed. "A broke loser like you would never understand how the world really works. I've got money. Did you really think you could take me down?" "Hey." Jackson got up and walked over. "What's going on here?" Seeing Jackson's displeasure, Trevor's entire demeanor shifted back to that of a bootlicker. "Mr. Ford, he's just some pathetic loser who couldn't keep his wife happy. They're divorced, but he keeps chasing her. Pathetic, right? It's no wonder his wife would rather be with me. No strings attached. Isn't that right, Mr. Ford?" Chloe kept her head down, her face burning with shame, but she didn't dare contradict him. I raised my fist and drove it straight into Trevor's mouth. "If you don't know how to talk, then shut up." He staggered back, clutching his bleeding mouth, his eyes wide with disbelief. "You worthless piece of shit. You hit me. You're dead." As he lunged at me, Chloe grabbed his arm. "Ethan, run. You can't win against him." I looked at her and let out a cold, sharp laugh. "Still looking out for me? That's impressive. Fucking other men while telling me you love me." Her face darkened at my words. "Ethan, I'm trying to help you. Don't be an idiot. If you keep this up, I'm done with you. Everything I've done, it was all for you." Her words hinted at something more, and I raised an eyebrow, curious to hear this new lie. "Ethan, I admit I wronged you, but it's because you have no money, no power. Do you think I would have had to suck up to Trevor if you were successful?" Looking at the woman I had spent 3 years of my life with, I felt nothing but disgust. Trevor pulled her into a rough embrace, his hands roaming all over her body. "This is reality, Ethan. Get it? Women are drawn to power. You have nothing, so of course you can't keep one." He leaned in, his voice a conspiratorial whisper. "And I'll be honest with you. I wanted to kill you. I wanted Chloe all to myself with no baggage. She claims to be so conservative. I get off on making her serve other men." He was getting more and more worked up, high on his own perceived power. I laughed. "So what you're saying is, anyone with more money and power than you can crush you under their heel." He looked at me with utter disdain. "Of course. But you? You're nobody who couldn't even hold on to his own wife." I never liked throwing my weight around, but for him, I'd make an exception. It was time for a reality check. Jackson, I said, my voice calm. Knock all of his teeth out. I'm tired of listening to him. Jackson, who had been enjoying the show, grinned. My pleasure, Ethan. I was getting sick of him, too. Trevor and Chloe stared at me, their faces a mixture of shock and utter disbelief. Before Trevor could even beg, Jackson's bodyguards swarmed him, pinning him to the ground. Fists rained down on his mouth. I led Claire to the sofa, and we sat down, eating fruit while we watched the spectacle. Soon, the beating stopped. The pathetic whimpers for mercy had faded. Mr. Prescott, Mr. Ford. All his teeth are gone. I waved a dismissive hand at the bodyguard. They dragged Trevor over like a sack of garbage and threw him at my feet. He immediately started knocking his head on the floor. I put my foot on his head, pressing his face into the expensive carpet. So this is what it feels like to have power, Trevor. Honestly, I'm not that impressed. Mr. Prescott, please, have mercy. You can have Chloe back. I swear I'll never touch her again. Chloe, who had been frozen in shock, finally snapped out of it and scrambled toward me. Claire shot out her foot and kicked her hard in the stomach. Don't you touch him. Don't you know how filthy you are? Chloe crumpled to the ground, clutching her stomach. Ethan, she sobbed, it was him. He drugged me. He forced me. I never wanted to betray you. I looked at her with such profound disappointment that I couldn't even bring myself to speak. 9. I lifted my foot from Trevor's head and calmly straightened my pant leg. Jackson grabbed a handful of Trevor's hair and yanked his head up. You idiot. The only reason I was sending business to your little startup in New York was because my boy Ethan here asked me to look out for you. Trevor's eyes widened in despair as he stared at me. Chloe crawled on her hands and knees to my feet. Ethan, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Please, just give me one more chance. She reached for my hand. Claire kicked her again, knocking her to the ground. Bitch, Ethan's too much of a gentleman to hit a woman, but I'm not. Have you forgotten everything you've done? You claimed you couldn't stand men, yet you slept with countless of them. How dare you ask for forgiveness? Claire kept kicking her as she lay on the floor. Chloe's cries filled the room. I finally pulled a fuming Claire back. She's not worth getting your shoes dirty. Claire shot one last glare at the whimpering heap on the floor. I just can't stand it. After everything she did to you, how could she have the audacity to ask you to take her back? I sighed. Some people simply have no shame. There's nothing you can do about it. Jackson asked me what to do with them. I glanced at Trevor, who looked like a broken dog on the floor. Hand him over to the police. He just confessed to attempted murder, didn't he? Jackson nodded, then sneered at Trevor. You thought you were so tough. Let's see you buy your way out of this one. Trevor started crawling, banging his head on the floor again, begging for mercy. He knew that facing trial here in Boston, with my family's influence, meant he would never see the light of day again. Prison would be a living hell. But I felt no pity. He was a parasite, a clown who had danced on my pain. The thought of him made me sick. The best solution was to make sure he was locked away for life. Jackson pointed to Chloe. And her. She stopped crying and looked at me, her eyes pleading. Chloe, stay away from me. Don't ever contact me again. The moment you chose to betray me, we were finished. But I regret it, Ethan. I promise. I'll never leave your sight again. I frowned. Are you incapable of understanding English? Do you have any idea how disgusting you are? A woman like you. Why would I ever want you back? Where do you get this confidence? Claire didn't have my patience. She signaled the bodyguards, who grabbed Chloe by the hair and dragged her out of the room. With them gone, I looked at Claire. You set all this up, didn't you? She smiled. I was worried you'd keep all that anger bottled up inside. I didn't want it to destroy you. I reached out and gently smoothed her hair. I was already over it. But this brings a certain closure. Thank you. She took my hand and pressed it against her cheek. I'm just glad you see things clearly now. Everyone runs into a few monsters in their life. From across the room, Jackson and my other friends started cheering and whistling. A deep blush spread across Claire's face. 10. Marrying Claire felt like the most natural thing in the world. I owed her so much. I had hurt her so deeply. As long as she was willing to have me, I would consider myself the luckiest man alive. So when my father suggested we go to her family to formally propose, I agreed instantly. When Claire, blushing, nodded her assent, both our families erupted in joy. They immediately started looking at calendars, eager to set a date as soon as possible. Seeing our parents so happy, Claire and I exchanged a smile and slipped out of her family's house. Walking down the street, she told me about her 3 years abroad. She said she spent every day wondering why I had chosen Chloe over her. She was heartbroken, but refused to be the other woman who destroyed a marriage. So she suffered in silence. The moment she got my call, she booked the first flight back without a second thought. Hearing her story, my heart ached with shame. My stupid, arrogant decision had not only hurt the best woman I'd ever known, but it had also nearly cost me my life. If Claire hadn't shown up when she did, I would be dead. Holding her hand, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. Knowing her was the greatest fortune of my life. As we were walking, a figure darted out from an alley and blocked our path, startling both of us. The bodyguards who were discreetly following us immediately stepped between us and the person. "Ethan, please help me." I stared at the woman, who looked like a homeless person. It took me a moment to realize it was Chloe. The woman who was once so obsessed with cleanliness was now utterly filthy. "Ethan, can you give me some money for treatment? I don't think I'm going to make it." I was curious. "What kind of treatment? What's wrong with you?" I have." She stammered, unable to say the words. I was losing patience and turned to leave. Seeing me walk away, she became desperate and tried to rush me. "I have syphilis. It's stage 3. If I don't get treated, I'm going to die." I looked at Chloe, held back 10 feet away by my bodyguards, and a bitter, ironic laugh escaped me. "Chloe, a woman with a pathological aversion to men, has an STD. Don't you find that just a little ironic?" She hung her head, silent tears tracking paths through the grime on her face. Claire looked at her with pure disgust. "Can you please get away from us? You're repulsive." Chloe looked up, her eyes filled with desperation. But no one will help me. All my old friends abandoned me when they found out I was sick. My own parents won't even let me in the house." I sighed, pulled out my wallet, and emptied all the cash onto the ground in front of her. "Take it all. You don't have to pay me back. And don't ever come near me again." Chloe scrambled on the pavement, gathering the bills one by one, muttering "thank you" over and over. Clutching the money, she turned and ran. I told one of the bodyguards to keep an eye on her. Claire pouted. "What? You still have feelings for her?" I smiled and gently patted her head. "Of course not. I just want to make sure she stays far away from us. What if she gets desperate and tries to hurt you?" A small smile touched Claire's lips. "Okay, you're being thoughtful. Our wedding was magnificent. I had finally found my way back to where I belonged." Just after the ceremony, my head of security approached me. "Mr. Prescott, Chloe Miller is dead." I stood there for a moment, processing the news. "Ow!" She jumped from the roof of the hospital. I nodded slowly. A strange sadness washed over me. 4 years of college, 3 years of marriage, 7 years of my life. All the love, all the hate. In that moment, it all dissolved into nothing. When you start down the wrong path, sometimes there really is no turning back. Claire wrapped her arm around mine. "Honey, what are you thinking about?" I looked at the incredible woman beside me, and the emptiness in my heart was instantly filled. "I was just thinking," I said, pulling her close, "about how happy we're going to be